what is PS and what is the basic terminologies we'll be using in PS and what all come across in PS. How exactly we're going to structure it. But before going through, I will just let you know one thing. As already SAP consultant, you know what exactly the SAP is. It is garbage in, garbage out. If we say it in very our language.
Yeah.
And even in SAP PS also, how we are going to structure the project, the way we are going to get the reports.
Okay.
Because finally, every professional will struggle to get the reports. They want to see the dashboards. I mean, they want to see the reports, where exactly they are into. The management is interested only in reports. They are not the least bothered about what's happening at the ground level. So in PS, especially in PS, the management is very keen to know where exactly they are standing on a particular day. So that is how, even if they want to see it before to this one, how we are going to structure the project, how we are going to divide the project, how we are going to break down the things, or else how we are going to integrate it. I mean, how we are going to assemble the things. This is all depends upon the skill of the end user, how he wants to do structuring his project. End user is nothing but a project manager. So if he just want to monitor in a single line item, yes, he can do it. Or else if you want to break down it into a very minimal thing, even if you want to capture it for a cost of 5 rupees also, yes, he can do it. Or else if you want to capture the things only at a direct cost level, maybe $10,000, yes, he can directly do that level also. So it entirely depends upon the skill of the project manager, how he is going to structure the project. I will walk you through the structure, how you're going to do the structuring and how you're going to capture the things.
Got it.
So normally, what all the things will be covered in project systems? So one is the project structures. As I told you, how we're going to structure the project. I mean, it is a blueprint. Structuring is nothing but a blueprint. First, we will be blueprinting the things and we will be developing a skeleton structure of a building. Likewise, then we will be doing all the plastering, painting, and everything to cosmetize it. The same way in project systems also, how we are going to structure the things. Hierarchically, how which networks belongs to which WBS belongs to which level of WBS, who is the parent one and who is a child, how they're going to report it, whether the WBS has the billing element or the revenue element or the planning element, whether the WBS generates the revenue or not, whether the this WBS only uh, expenses the cost, what exactly the WBS is meant for, and how many networks this WBS has, what is the nature of networks, and what are the nature of activities belongs to this particular network. Everything we're going to structure it. There is a very initial stage. Okay, and the
Okay.
next thing is my cost and my budgets. First, I will be planning my cost, then I will be given the budget to the particular line items. Suppose if I give it in a very normal way, so I am planning for constructing a house. So first I will have in a very brief mind, okay, for constructing just to purchase an apartment somewhere in Bangalore or in Hyderabad. So how exactly, how much exactly it will cost? I may assume that okay, it may cost 30 lakhs, 2 BHK. A typical 2 BHK apartment will cost 30 lakhs. Okay, and what about the furniture? How I'm going to do it? I will be calculating my cost here. Then I will be allocating the budget. This one. Cost will be carried out from from bottom to top, and budget will be given from top to bottom. I will just walk you through. I'm just giving you the glimpse what exactly we're
Yeah,
going
yeah.
to do, and in
Okay.
each and every unit, I will be walking you through how the cost will be flowing down and how the cost will be flowing up and how the budget will be flowing down. And the next part is the materials. We are going to assign materials to the activities or to the WBS. So are you aware about WBS and activities, all this? Or else I have to
I,
take you through the entire thing. I'm
I
just
mean,
giving you.
I've heard, I've heard it, I've used it obviously, in my, the sales order, the processing, but I don't think, that I have a,
Okay. Yeah, I got it. So in sales order, you may be just using your account assignment as a WBS or activity.
correct. Yes.
Yes. Okay, I will walk you through the hierarchy of the WBS and activities and how they are interlinked and everything. It
Yeah.
comes under project structures.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, here just is if you want to procure the external materials or the internal materials are nothing but our resources, and also the service materials. The service deliverables also considered as service materials. Obviously, we'll be knowing how we're going to create a service materials, and we will be assigning these service materials under activities or WBS, and that can be trigger that will trigger the next process. And ultimately, the revenues and payments, AP and AR, can be done from project systems.
Okay.
Ultimately, the period end closing, the PEC things. See here, most of the things, it is a controlling sales, I mean SD, MM, FI, CO, most of the things we have covered here. I mean, in project systems, if you see the cost and budget, it is most of the controlling part. My tolerance limit and everything, the controlling, CO has come here. And the materials, I'm going to assign the materials, what kind of materials I'm going to assign it, what is the materials availability, and what kind of material, it is non-stock or stock, special stock, project stock, what kind of material it is, how I'm going to do the procurement, everything covers here. So MM has been highly integrated here. Revenues and payments. So what is the revenue I'm going to get in this particular WBS? It has been linked with SD. All WBS, who are all the revenue generator WBS, it will be linked with the sales order. SD has been integrated here. And the payments, nothing but the confirmations, actual confirmations or payment to vendors, and the reports. Most of our project reports can be driven here. AP and AR covered here, and PEC jobs. Do you know what is PEC? The settlements and result analysis.
Yeah.
So, do you have any idea on this one? The settlements. So, why we are going to settle the things? Why we have to do the result analysis?
I have a high level, the idea. Funny, obviously, we use it for our, the service order, the process, right? So we have we start, everything with the service notification, and then service order is created. We do the resource planning. Once the service work is, completed, we do the results analysis, and then we do the settlement. If it is a month end, right? That way, everything is, taken out of, the service order and put under the, the cost object. We have, used PSG as, the cost object. In some cases, we have used, the GL accounts as a, the cost object. And then we let it go through the, the resource related, the billing. And after the final invoicing is created, we do the, the results analysis and, the final settlement.
The basic fund of it is a process what we are explaining. The basic fund of why we do RA and settlement is we have to do RA to know the progress of the projects. I mean, to exactly know where exactly we are financially. So what is the revenue we're getting and what is the work in progress, whether it is surplus or whether there is a the still WIP is there. To know the health status of the project, we will run the result analysis.
Okay.
There are almost 18 result analysis keys, RA keys given by SAP.
Okay.
There are almost 18 methods. I mean, how exactly you're going to do your result analysis? Whether you will be doing with the progress methods, or you will be doing your result analysis by the revenue recognition method, or you will be doing it through the cost actual cost expenditures method. There are almost 18 methods. If you see in SAP SPRO configuration part, you will find 18 array keys.
Okay.
SAP given array keys. So this is why we exactly run array to know the health status of a project, financial health status of a project, to know the progress of a project.
Okay.
And why do we settlement is normally all our service order, sales order or service orders or my PO objects. These are all very temporary things. Tomorrow I'm going to close it down. I'm going to close service orders. I'm going to close service orders, and I'm going to close my projects. So these are all temporary objects. We cannot hold our financial things under these objects.
Got it.
As per FI, we have to settle it to my FI components, that is to GLs or to cost centers, anywhere else,
Yeah.
at least to cost elements also. That's why we do settlement in order, I'm transferring my cost from one object to another object. If we speak in business language, my branch in Kuwait has incurred the cost of $10,000. So that has to transfer to my head office account, because head office will account all the cost incurred by its branches.
Got it.
So it will accumulate all the cost, and it will take the cost from the Kuwait branch, and it will make it as its own cost. Also the revenues also, not only cost. The settlements will not take us not only for the cost, also for the revenues. So my Kuwait branch has it has been generated a revenue of $12,000 in this particular period. So these $12,000 will be transferred to the head office account. Ultimately, if you talk about the balance sheets and P&L account, everything the same they will do. Our FI guys, then we in the project systems or else in project management, we will be doing PEC by running RA and by doing settlements.
Okay.
We will be clearing off our accounts. So we will not be holding, at the end of the day, we will not be holding any revenues or expenses under our umbrella. We will be transferring it to their accounts. To a permanent accounts.
Okay.
Generally, if you want to become an SAP consultant, first we should know the business. That's why I'll be more insisting on the business part.
Okay.
So normally, how exactly my PS life cycle is comes here into. So first, we will be starting with the operative structures. As I told you, how we are going to structure my project. I will be creating I will be planning my structure. Hierarchy levels. So I will be assigning the WBS, under the WBS the networks, under the networks my activities, under the activities I will be assigning my material components. I will be structuring my project, and the next part comes with the planning part. So how exactly I'm going to do it, how I'm going to interlink one activity to another activity. I can establish a relationship between the activities. If you see, if you remember the PERT and CPM part, where we will be doing the relationship, start activity 1, ending start activity 2, finish to start, start to finish, finish to finish, start to start. Do you remember these relationships in PERT and CPM?
Yeah.
Yeah, the same thing PS uses here. PS is based on completely on PERT and CPM.
Okay.
So how the activities will trigger, whether it is start to start, start to finish, finish to start. It is properly integrated. If we look into the activities part in CJ20N T code, you will see what is the relationship existing between this activity to another activity. We can establish this one. And the next part is the budgeting. In planning, both comes the time and cost. Both you can do the planning here. And the next thing is budgeting. So once I am done with my planning, I will be knowing how much cost I am going to occur for each and every activity. So once I've been established, so the management, they are going to give you a budget. Okay, you are telling that the entire project will cost 360 crores. Fine. So I will be allocating you a budget of 350 crores, and you are supposed to finish a project in 350 crores. This kind of targets will be set by management. Our part, at a ground level, I mean, the project managers, they will be giving only the cost. The budget will be decided by the management. Whatever the preliminary budget prepared by us is nothing but a cost estimation. It is only a cost estimation. Once we submit, I mean, the project managers or the budgeting engineers submit the cost to the management, they will approve it. Then it is called as a budget. The approved cost planning is called as a budget.
Okay.
Once the budget is been approved and set, it has to be allocated to the different components in PS, like the WBS. Budgets will not be assigned to activities. Budget will all be assigned to WBS, different levels of WBS. Activities are only cost occurring objects. Are you following, Prabha?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, because this is the most critical part. We need to understand what is what here.
Yep.
Even I will be walk you through that one, and whenever the things comes, I will be insisting some of the things where we have to little focus the things. We have to emphasize. I will be emphasizing more on such kind of things, such very critical points. How exactly the relationship between the components within the PS. Activities are only cost incurring objects. Activities will never ever take care about the revenues, or their even budgets cannot be assigned to the activities.
Okay.
Budgets and revenues can only be assigned, and revenues can only be generated from WBS.
Okay.
WBS is work breakdown structure.
Okay.
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 And once I am done with my budgeting, once I've allocated my budget, I have to release the budget. Until and unless I release my budget in SAP, these budgets are not being allocated to a particular WBS. Creating a budget, assigning a budget is a different thing, but we have to release the budget.
Got it.
Again, in budget also we can enhance the budget, and we can transfer. Sorry. We can transfer the budget, we can supplement the budget. There are a lot more things in budget. Okay.
Okay.
Here, if you see, each and every stage has its own importance, and it has got its own babies again. It has got a lot of process in each and every step. And even the main thing is the execution part. In execution, your actuals will get captured here. Actuals is PO. Actuals will be captured from these points, from PO especially from materials. Once I'm done with the materials, once GA happens, the actual cost will get captured. Or if it is a non-stock GA, when it is a stock item, if GA happens, then cost will get captured. Or else if it is a timesheet confirmations, actual confirmations, or that finance postings, actuals will happen. These are all the execution parts.
Okay.
And once the execution are done, closing operations. Closing operations nothing but my PECs, or I may be closing my projects. Once the projects have been executed for a couple of years, I am going to close my project. Then I will be using my closing operations or my regular PEC jobs. Every month or every quarterly, how exactly the company wants to, how exactly the management wants to do their reporting systems. And the next is IS, information systems. All my reports, A to Z reports. You can track down your project from initiation at any stage of the project. There are a lot of reports given by SAP itself in PS. Even if you see in SAP menu tree, there is a separate heading called information systems, where you will see only reports in SAP. If you go to an SAP menu, you will see only reports, all S_AR reports, your financial reports, our time reporting reports. There are a lot more reports are there. We can use the appropriate reports and we can make use of it. And hence, in reports, especially in PS, it is a very minimal to go with the customization.
Okay.
Rise of objects are minimal in PS. Because SAP itself has given a lot of things in SAP PS. But yes, we will go with Z customizations a lot in PS integration with other modules. So how normally typically my project works? Project normally, if you talk about any project, any activity which has a start and which has an end is termed as a project. It is as simple as that. As I told in the very first thing in the morning, you will be looking after more into investment projects. So why company wants to track it down? Because they are investing on a particular asset. They wants to know how much they are spending on this particular activity because it is an investment for them. They are not getting revenue on its very first day. And hence they are very keen about how much they are spending on on each and every stage of a project. That's why they will use project systems, especially to track down their day-to-day cost and day-to-day progress, where exactly they are into and how much time they will be taking up for the finishing of the project, and where they will be standing on exact day. To calculate all those things, they will be using PS normally.
Got it.
So normally, what kind of projects we'll be having, and what are the industry sectors which will be using PS? So normally, the project types we will be having is investment projects, the customer projects, internal projects, research and development. These are all R&D projects, where most of the things like if you look into pharma industries, these kind of projects will be more R&D projects. Customer projects, if you take into engineering and construction or in telecommunications, they will be using more the customer projects. Investment projects, as each and every industry will be using the investment projects. When they want to enhance themselves, when they want to upgrade themselves, they will be doing a lot of investments. They may be procuring the assets, they may be purchasing the assets, or they may be constructing the assets.
Yeah. We also use a lot of customer projects. Yeah.
Yeah, even oil and gas industries and engineering and constructions both goes in way by way.
Yeah.
The basic fund of construction and oil and gas is same. The only thing is oil and gas, they have the direct customers. Construction will not have the direct customers. That's the only major difference.
Okay.
Did you get a glimpse of project types, what we're going to use in PS?
Yeah.
Now, basically, if we classify, we are going to classify majorly into 3 types only: internal projects, customer projects, and investment or R&D projects.
Okay.
In customer projects, the only difference between the internal projects and customer projects are internal projects, there are no revenue generation. Customer projects, there are revenue generations.
Okay.
And investment projects, we will be creating assets.
Yep.
So we will be accumulating everything. We will be capturing the cost under AUC. It differs only by the project profiles. How we are going to differentiate the project types is the project profile. You might have seen in SPRO under project systems, the project profiles, budget profiles, planning profiles. Did you get a chance to go through SPRO settings in under the PS tab?
No, I haven't done that.
Okay,
but
okay.
I've seen the profiles, the project, the profile and the planning profiles while creating a project.
Actually, the project profile determines what kind of project it is.
Okay.
Whether it is an investment project or whether it is a customer project or it is an internal project. The only thing is the internal project and investment projects, they don't have the customer profiles with this one. I mean, they don't have the revenue recognition items with them. RA will not be done on these projects, on internal and investment projects. RA will be done only on customer projects.
Okay.
Now we will be just learning about the structures part. So what is WBS and networks? As the name itself indicates, the WBS is work breakdown structures. I'm going to break my work into different levels. First, I will be having one project definition. It is a topmost hierarchy. If you see in my illustrative example, it is given as a P. P is a very topmost level. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, P is at a very topmost level. It is a project. It is where it accumulates each and everything. It is the head of the department. And if you see at a very first level, P1, P2, P3, P4, these are the first level of WBS.
Okay.
Where they are the parent for the next WBS activities. And P1, this level 1 WBS indicates the nature of works we are going to do. Suppose I'm constructing a dock. I'm constructing a harbor. Construction of an harbor itself is a project definition. It is at a very high hierarchy level. You can call it as a P. It is a project level. Under the construction of an harbor, you can differentiate. First, I'm going to do my mechanical part, civil part, electrical part, and miscellaneous. The civil part, mechanical part, electrical part, miscellaneous, this all comes under level 1 WBS. Under civil, again you will have the different set of things. So what are the civil activities I'm going to perform? There again the level 3, level 4, level 5. Again for level 3, again there will be some babies. There will be level 4. For level 4, it may have some other babies. And again for level 5, it may have some other babies. In the meanwhile, if you see in mechanical part also will have procurement of my heavy machineries, maintenance of machineries. You can mark as a WBS for those. If you see this P1, P2, P3, P4, these are all indicated as a level 1 WBS. P111, P12, P21, P22, these are all the second level of WBS.
Got it.
Under blue, you can see the light. There's a light green boxes are there.
Yep.
Those are all the activities.
Okay. How many levels of the WBS that can be created in a project? Is it unlimited or there is a limit to it?
Theoretically, it is an unlimited, but practically there are 99 levels you can create. 99 levels itself is a very, 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 very huge.
Yeah.
If you refer SAP PLM books, they will give it as an n number of unlimited.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
But practically you cannot exceed not more than 99 levels. 99 levels itself gives you a huge structure. Almost if you encase structure physically, it almost reaches to Paris Eiffel Tower.
Got it.
Normally, any projects, as for in my experience, what I have seen, it will not exceed not more than 6 levels.
Yeah, we also use the 6 levels the here one.
Yeah, because even there's only parent levels we're talking about. Again, they will have the babies, and babies will have again furthermore babies, the child WBS, and they will be integrated. It will be very cumbersome. We shouldn't be creating a very complex structure also. Even though when we are drilling it to a very minute level, it shouldn't be very complicated, so that when you drill down the report, you will be losing your stuff. I mean, you will lost.
Yes.
And if you see here the light green ones, they are the networks. Network is a collection of an activities. Network literally technically it does not have any prominence. Only activities will have the prominence. It have the importance. Network is only a collection of activities I'm going to perform.
Okay.
The activities are internal activities, external activities, service activities, and cost activities.
Okay.
There are 4 types of activities. I will be taking you through. There are next further slides are there.
Okay.
So network is only a collection of activities. That is why even technically we will not be creating any network under WBS. We will be assigning or creating only activities. Once we save, automatically network will be created. Network is only a header part.
Got it.
We can't say it is a dummy. It has its own value, but technically no data or no cost will be stored under network headers. All my data, the cost or everything will be stored under network activities.
Okay.
So these are normal terminologies we will be using in SAP PS. The project definition, operative workbench structures, WBS element. Here you may find it as an operative work breakdown structure and WBS element. WBS element and work breakdown structure both are one and same. Technically there is no difference. But in SAP PS, in the right hand side of the column, you will be finding two things called as an operative work breakdown structure and WBS elements. Obviously WBS elements will be assigned under WBS. WBS element is nothing but a baby WBS.
Okay.
Technically both have the same same features.
Okay.
And the project planning.
Can you repeat, what you just explained about the, the operative, the work breakdown structure?
Operative work breakdown structure is nothing but my WBS.
Okay.
There's no difference. Operative is I'm using in my projects. That is called operative WBS.
Okay.
In template, there will be two types of templates. One is operative, another one is this different one. I will see in the SAP screen. I will tell you that one.
That's fine.
WBS, yeah.
We'll definitely go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. Anyway, I was about to say that we'll be definitely going through it in detail, right? When we talk about those the specific the topics in the the upcoming sessions. Yeah.
Yes,
I thought.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Another one is my project planning, where I will be doing my planning of dates and planning of cost. It is only terminology what we have discussed so far, and everything has been jotted down here. And the network, milestones, settlement, standard project definition, standard work breakdown structure. Just a glimpse of, the definitions, what exactly the project definitions and what is operative work breakdown structure, WBS element. Here, how exactly my project phases are. So typical my projects start with during my conceptual stages only. So whenever my sales department, my marketing department, they float a quotation to its customers, that day itself I can create a project. I may create a project. If I talk in very literally thing, I will be creating a project from the day one itself. So normally my marketing team, my sales team, what they will be doing, they will be floating quotations to different customers on the products what all they are available with. So when they float the quotation, in the meanwhile I can create my project, or else through assembly process itself my WBS automatically will get created once I have the project definition ready in my CJ20M. So during quotation itself I can do my preliminary planning. I will be capturing the cost, I will be estimating the things. So how much cost will be occurring in a particular phase. So in this particular activity, how much cost will be there. So I can do my preliminary costing and I can get ready with this one. Once my quotation has been converted to a sales order, once my quotation get approved and it's been confirmed, then I'm going to do my detailed planning and I will be allocating the budget and I will be releasing the budget. Ultimately, I'm going to release my project and then I will be starting my execution. And in PS, just to remember one thing, Until and unless we release the project or we release the WBS, we cannot post anything, not even a single paisa on this particular object. First, we have to release it.
Yes.
First, we have to release the projects, or first we have to release the WBS. Then only technically we can work on this one. Once we are done this one, then we are going to technically close the project. These all comes under in status of the projects. I will be explaining it to you more on that part. I'm just giving you a glimpse of it. So without releasing my project, I am not going to execute. I mean, system will not allow you to execute it. System will not allow you to capture the cost on a particular components. Once everything is done, my closing process will start. I mean, I'm going to settle it. I'm going to run my RA. I'm going to do my full settlements. Then I'm going to mark it as a TCO in my status. Once it has been TCO, then we can close it.
Got it.
So how my SAP is being integrated with the different modules. If you talk about SAP FICO, my RA calculation, RA analysis, my settlement, everything will be related to PS. In my investment management, is nothing but my budgeting. So how much budget have been allocated. In my how SAP is been integrated with is CADS, workforce planning, and everything. SAP MM purchase orders. SAP P is production orders. PM is my plant maintenance. AM, AR, AP, everything. So here we are going to know more about the project structures. How I'm going to structure my project. So normally before this one, I'm going to do my planning as the same thing: planning, budgeting, and execution. How I'm going to do my, how I'm going to construct my, how I'm going to structure my project in CJ20N. CJ20N is a master T code where you will be doing lot of activities there. You will be structuring your project, you will be executing your project, you will be releasing your PRs, and you will be capturing your actual cost in CA20 itself. You will be closing the projects, and again you can release the projects from there itself. CA21 is a master T code where it is highly integrated with all the modules in SAP.
Okay.
So the dates, what all I can do in my WBS structures. So I can assign my dates, I can allocate my budgets and my commitments. The basic difference between the actual cost and commitments is all my purchase equations and purchase orders comes under commitments. It only gets converted into actuals once GR RGI happens. If it is a project stock, once GI happens, then actual cost will get captured. If it is a non-stock, once GR happens, then only the actual will get confirmed. Till then, it will be a part of commitments.
Okay.
Even commitments also consumes my budget. This we need to remember.
Okay.
Suppose I have allocated $100 to my particular WBS. Under the WBS, if there are 3 baby WBS under this one, I have allocated $100 to my level 2 WBS. For level 2, there is a level 3, level 4, level 5 being assigned under level 2. Under level 2, there are 3 level 3s. Under level 3, 1, there are 1 level 4. Under level 3, 2, there are 1 level 4. Under level 3, 3, level 3, 2, level 3, third one, I have one more baby one. Accumulating all these, I have allocated only $100 as my budget. My budget will get consumed once the commitment get triggers. If I'm going to exceed or when I'm going to near my consumption of a budget, system will trigger us warning messages, information messages, and error messages. These things will be configured in tolerance. What is my tolerance? If suppose my budget get consumed at 70%, I'm going to get an information message. If my budget going to get consumed by 80%, I'm going to get a warning message. If my budget get consumed by 95%, then I will be getting an error message. Once we get an error message, we cannot execute furthermore.
Got it.
That will be stopped over there.
Yep.
And my periodic processings, all my overheads will get captured here, my processing cost and my RA settlement and everything. My payment data, all the vendors, how I'm going to pay them and how much I have paid them, my actuals and everything will get captured here. My revenues, how much revenue I got it in a particular WBS. And see, everywhere you can see some planned revenues, actual revenues, planned cost, actual cost. How I'm going to create my WBS. So normally, as an SD consultant, we can create an assembly processing also. What is assembly processing? Whenever we are creating an sales order, especially the service materials, for service materials, so the material type what we are going to use there, those material types being assigned to my standard network CS. So when I'm using the same project type and this whenever I'm creating a sales order, automatically through assembly process, this WBS will get created under my project.
Okay, so this process, starts with the sales order, and then indirectly, the WBS, will be, the created under the project, is it?
Yes, yes. Before this one, I should be creating a project definition in my PS.
Okay, okay.
I should have a project definition.
Okay.
Then only the assembly process works. Because my project is nothing but an father of my this one. Without
Okay.
father, the child cannot be sustained. As simple as
Got
that.
it. Got it. So we'll be looking at these processes as well, right, in our sessions? Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I'll be walking you through. Especially SAP PS is 10% in SAP and 90% is business. You should know the business first. I mean, how exactly it has been integrated, what's happening in the background, what point my PS will get integrated with SD, at what point my PS will integrate with MM, and the rest 10% is only how you're going to play things in SAP.
Okay.
This is how my project profile looks like. I mean, what all the features I'm going to have it. I will have the organization data here. What is my controlling area? What is my company code? What is my business area? And even one beauty of my PS is I have multiple company codes, different levels of my WBS. WBS 1 belongs to company code A. WBS 2 may belongs to company code B.
Okay.
It is nothing but an ICRRB. If I'm having an ICRRB scenario in my organization, I can make use of this one.
Okay. So you're saying that the project is for the cross company
Yes, yes.
setup.
Intercompany. Normally, even in most of the oil and gas industries, ICRB is a very prevalent one. Intercompany resource related billing. Like how we do RRB, na?
Yeah.
For RRB, we'll have the DIP profile and we'll be generating the cost directly from DP93 and everything. DP93, DP91 will be using for RRB. The same way ICRB also will be there. It is an intercompany resource related billing where my resources, the resources belongs to India, will work to Australia, and Indian team will bill to Australian team. It is an ICRRB. They
Okay.
cannot have a proper sales order between intercompanies. Again, it is an tax issues. You should not be creating a sales order from India to Australia under the same controlling area.
Got it.
That's why we'll be using SCRRB. The main thing is my project coding mask. Project coding mask is nothing but a naming ceremony. How I'm going to define my project? I will have a different projects, right? So what is my project? How I'm going to give my project coding mask? By looking at the project coding mask, people will determine, okay, this project belongs to this company code. This is this kind of nature. Normally, if you might be using some very typical names, WBS for different investment projects, or for customer project, it will be different name. You might have come across those. Whenever you will be using WBS account assignments in your SD, you might have observed they might be with a very unique fashion. They will be starting with first 4 alpha characters, and next 3 will be the numeric one with a dot in between.
Yes.
The nomenclature of WBS, you might have find it in a very unique way.
Correct. Yep.
Whatever the WBS you'll be using, they will be in the same fashion. Number of characters will be same, and first there will be 4 alpha characters, and again numerical will comes, or the sequence will be the same one. What all the WBS will be using, the sequence that will be defined here in project coding mask. I will be defining it, how many characters I'm supposed to use it, and how many special characters, and what exactly my structure, my way should be. Here, if you see 00XX in the screen, 0 refers the numeric one. So wherever I have given it a 0, only numeric should be there. Okay. Suppose I have given a coding mask as 000 hyphen X hyphen X. In the first 4 digit, I have given it as a numeric one. So whenever I am creating a project, system will not allow me to divert from this structure. Suppose I'm using, rather than 0, I'm using as an alpha characters. Suppose I'm using IND as my first 3 characters. System will not allow me. System will throw an error. And also this represents, even if you look at a particular WBS number, it will tell us which level of WBS you are using it.
Okay.
That's what is called as an coding mask. You can study from this WBS number itself. By just looking at WBS, you can say, okay, this is a level 1 WBS, this is a level 2 WBS, this is a level 3 WBS. I will just walk you through once we open with the system. I mean, how exactly we have to study this one, and what is the use of this coding mask. This coding mask will let you use the number of WBS in a project systems. As you asked them, so you will be using 6 levels of WBS. These 6 levels will be determined how you are defining your coding mask.
Got it.
So these are only master data in PS. I mean the structures, templates.
Yep.
Templates are the only master data the PS guys will be maintained. And we can say we PS guys will be using other master data which has been maintained by SD and MM guys.
Got it.
Project Builder is another part in CA20N. So the entire PS starts with the CA20N and ends with CA20N. You need to remember the only T code in PS. Yes, of course, there are a lot of other T codes also there, but your 90% of your time will be spent in CA20N only. It is a heavy transaction where you can do each and everything. You can navigate to other T codes from CA20N only. This is how my CA20N screen looks like.
Okay.
So if you see this one, this is the hierarchy. So this is a project definition. If you see T20099, this is my project definition. And under the same one, if you see T2099, it is a level 1 WBS. Always the level 1 WBS, the name of the level 1 WS is same as my project definition, and I will be creating only one level 1. My level 1 WS will be only one. I should not be creating the parallel level 1 WS.
Okay.
Even also, whenever I'm creating in my project profile, I will be deciding whether the project will have a single sales order or multiple sales orders. I can decide that one. The entire project may end up with only single sales order, or my each and every WBS will have its own different sales orders. Even I can decide that one.
Okay.
If you see here, this part, the left bottom part, this is your normal project, your project objects. And your right part is our dashboard. I mean, whenever you click on any object, it will show your properties of this one. So each and every tab is has its own importance. Its basic data, dates, assignments, what are my controlling activities, and user fields and all. Those are very dummy activities, dummy tabs. Very rarely will be using those tabs. Those tabs will be used in only in rise of objects.
Okay.
Whenever we're going for rise of objects, then we will be making use of those tabs, user fields and all. Basically,
Okay.
we will end up using only with the basic data, assignments, and control tabs.
Okay.
This is how normally my PS hierarchy will look like. My top level, my first project definition, level 1 WBS, level 2 WBS. If you take in any one of the things, these are all the network activities belongs to particular level WBS. This screen is available in SAP. You can see this screen in SAP also in project builder.
Okay.
How my activities are being assigned to my networks, how the activities are interlinked. My activities and networks. What are my activities? What can be done in activities? See, in activities, you can see only the date, cost, resource, and material requirements, but nowhere you are seeing the revenue time. Revenue thing.
Yeah.
Revenue will be captured only at WBS.
WBS.
Because
Okay.
WBS will only have the capacity. It is the only umbrella where it can hold the cost and revenues, both.
Okay.
The container of WBS is very bigger one, comparable to networks and activities. Network and activities are very small objects. Each WBS can hold thousands of activities.
Okay.
So you can minimize, you can scale it to yourself only what is WBS and what is activities. Activities are a very minimal thing. They are very least what you can say, drill down objects in projects. But activities and networks plays a very important role in capturing the cost. Cost will be captured activities and it will be flowed towards WBS.
Okay.
WBS, the beauty of this one is WBS will have its own cost and also the cost of its babies.
Can you repeat what you just said? Will have its own, the cost, and then
WBS will incur or may incur its own cost, and also it holds the cost of its babies also.
Okay.
Suppose the WBS will have two level of WBS more. It is in level 2 WBS. It will have the level 3 and level 4 WBS also. Prabha, just hold on.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry, Prabha.
Hey, no problem.
Suppose level 2 WBS will have the level 3 and level 4 WBS. So level 2 WBS will hold the cost of level 2 itself, and also it will capture the cost of level 3 and level 4.
Okay.
I mean, the cost will be accumulating from bottom to top.
Okay.
So in level 3 and level 4, it will be accumulating the cost incurred by its activities. Level 3 and level 4 will have its activities. So that what all the cost occurred by those activities will be captured. I mean, it will be holding in level 3 WBS. All cost will be accumulated here, and it will be accumulated at the top of level 2 WBS.
Got it.
This is how the cost will flow. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. And these are type of activities. As I told you, internal activities, external activities, service activities, and cost activities. Internal activities, why we take internal activities is, so whenever internally I am performing a job, suppose I am producing some goods internally. So I'm finishing. I'm producing some finished goods. Is my production. Production is happening within my unit. There's nothing but my internal activities. So under internal activities, I will be assigning the resources. There's the manpower. There's the under the personal assignment tab. I will be assigning who are all the persons responsible for this activity. So I'll be assigning this, and they will be confirming through CATs, or their confirmation can be done in this one.
Okay.
Under my external activities, as the name itself indicates, it is an external activities. Whenever I am procuring externally, I am going to use this activity. External procuring, it may have the materials or also the services. SAP has given us service activities specially to procure the services externally. See, even internal activities also I am taking the services, but it is internally. Only in internal activity tab you will have the personal assignment, where you will be assigning the resources under the activities, and those resources will be performing their job, and those costs will be captured under these activities.
Okay.
Each and you see the internal activity, external activity, and service activities, though these three perform the very similar functions, but it will make a difference what exactly and how exactly they are going to relate to it. Even internal activities also, you can assign the material components. Procurement can be done through internal activities also. But whenever you are doing procurement through internal activity, it means that you are procuring the materials internally, not from externally.
Okay.
If you assign the same material component to external activities, it means that you are procuring the material externally.
Okay.
If you assign the persons to internal activity, it means that they are the internal persons. They have their cost centers, they are under the same company code, and they will be performing their activities for this particular activity, and their cost will be captured automatically. That is through KP26. I mean, in KP26, I will be defining my per hour cost to the cost center and to this particular combination.
Activity type. Yeah.
And if it is my services, I am procuring services from my external vendors. I mean, I am getting the services. The same services what I am getting internally, the same services I am getting externally also. There externally, I'm not going to maintain each and individual person as my vendor. I'm not supposed to maintain them as. I'm just maintaining them as a vendor, where the vendor will give the services. I'm least bothered about the number of persons working on those. I'm only bothered about the services, whether the activity has been getting completed or not. I'm only bothered about that. That time I'm going to use my service activity.
Yes.
My cost activity is nothing but whenever I'm planning my petty expenses. Suppose my travel expenses. In my project, I have to capture my travel expenses separately. So I will be creating my cost activity, and I will be posting all my travel expenses or petty expenses, my sundry expenses, under cost activities.
Okay. Okay.
So these are the 4 types of activities in my project systems. Now you got to know what is internal activities and external activities and service activities. What internal activity will do, what my external activity will do, and what my service activity will do. See, internal activities. In internal activities, the major thing is my work, my dates, my capacities, and my cost. Capacities are the very important one here. How many capacities? My capacity requirement planning will be done in my internal activities. And in external activities, same thing. Dates, costs are there. One more thing, my commitments and my payments comes under my external activities. See, in internal activity, there are no payments. There are only costs are there. Because in my internally, I'm not going to pay my employees. I mean, the payment will be happening in my HRMS. But when it comes to PS, it is only cost. It is in a very, if you talk about any very project management terms, whenever I'm using a resource, skills, so the cost will be incurred. I'm not going to pay to my internal employees.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm going to only capture their cost, per hour cost. This per hour cost will be, I will be planning through KP26 one. This will be in turn, how this will trigger is the work center I'm going to use in my internal activity tab, and the plant I'm going to use it, and the activity type I'm going to use in my internal activity tab. I will be defining my activity type in my internal activity tab. That will give me planned cost, and the actual cost will be getting from the combination of the cost center of the employee and the work center I have used in my internal activity. Work center will have its own activity type, the activity type and the cost center of the employees. For this combination, I will be maintaining some cost in KP26 on a particular period. Again, if the cost is not maintained, system will throw an error. It will not throw an error. The confirmation will not happen. It will go and sit in some table. I will give the table again. From there, you can see that okay, this confirmation has not done it. I have to maintain the activity type, activity cost here in KP26. In CATS only, whenever we are confirming through CATS will give an error saying that the activity type combination is not maintained for this fiscal year so and so, 2015, 2016. From this error, we can determine and we will maintaining accordingly, or else the particular project team, the finance team, they will maintain the cost. The rates will be maintained over there in a particular period. See, even in my materials, whenever I'm procuring a materials, my dates, cost, commitments, payments. See, commitments are coming only in my external activities and my materials.
Okay.
External activity, service activity, both are nothing but same. My commitments will be happening here only, not in my internal activities.
Okay.
And the same, the period processing will happen whenever I'm doing my PEC jobs. It will happen from activities to project definition levels.
Got it.
And here I can assign my milestones. What can be the milestones? Milestones can be used for billing purpose. Milestones can be used for my the project progress purpose. Anyway, what kind of milestone I'm going to use it? The same way it will act. It is the same one. It is how the network looks like. And here the system status. What exactly my system status refers to? In project systems, the same way in my maintenance order, system status is a very prominent role. Until and unless I am going to set my WBS as a release, no activity can be performed. That project is not live yet. Only when I set my status as a release, then only project will start capturing the cost. Then only the project will start working. Till the project is a dead one. SAP has given its own system status, and meanwhile SAP has given a provision where we can set the user status also. User status is the customized one. So where we will be giving, okay, before going for release, I have to do a pre-release, or I have to check whether the budget has been assigned or not. With only these combinations, we can set a release one. Even for user status and system status, the project managers and the person responsible, whoever doing that one, they should have the proper authorization. Then only they can release the projects. See, here how it is. The conjunction is allowed if at least one status allows it and no status prohibits it. It means that suppose I am doing an activity where the cost is reflecting at my level 1 WBS, but I am performing that activity in level 3 WBS. If level 3 WBS is in release status and my level 11 WBS is not only in creator status, if I am going to post it, the system will throw an error. Only if both status are release status, then only I can post the cost.
Got it.
And the same way, my warning message and my error message also. If suppose my activities are not allowed because of the system says that it is still in creator activities or in closed status. Probably you might have come across something in CATS where CATS will show a status call saying that this activity has been in closed status. You cannot book the timing. If you are using CATS in your organization, you might have come across this error saying that time booking is not permitted because the activity is in closed status. Once you close the activity, no cost can be posted on this activity. Did you get it, Prabha?
Yep.
PS documents, milestones, assignments. PS text and documents are nothing but a dummy one, so where it is nothing but comments in my Excel trackers. In my Excel I will be putting as in comments, right? The same way PS texts are there. The documents, I can attach documents to my activities or to my WBS, where the documents will have what is the nature of this WBS and why I am doing this. If there are any technical specifications, I am going to draft it in a Word document, and I will be attaching the Word document to the particular WBS or to activity.
Okay.
Type of system status. First it will be in creator status, then it will be in release status. Once it has been completed, I am going to set it as a TCO, that is technically completed. Once everything is been done, then I will be set it as a closed status. Once it is closed, then the project is closed. You cannot post anything on closed one.
Okay.
TCO is only thing is the logistics part has been completed, but financially they can post the things in TCO.
Yeah, they can do the goods receipt and
yes.
Time confirmation. Yep.
But once it is in closed status, you cannot do anything. It is a dead body. TCO is nothing but the person is in coma. This is a little example how the customer project and how this one. So in customer project C, so I'm going to create a project structure.
Okay.
I'm going to create a sales order. Okay. I'm going to plan my project. Then I have to release my project. See, the first phase is a structuring one.
Okay.
I have only just created a structure. And before going to a second phase, I mean the execution part, I have to release my project. Then only I can do it. Until and unless I release my project, I cannot do anything. And reporting phase will only happens from execution, not before execution. So once it has been done, once execution and everything happens, I am going to my period end closings, or I am going to directly close my projects. Before that one, I had to do my RA and do my settlement.
Okay.
So this is how my cost and revenues are consolidated at my WBS elements. So what are all the objects related to my cost? What are all the objects related to my revenues? See, in networks, only the costs are there. My planned hours, my actual hours, my components, and everything. Here we'll be getting only the cost, 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 cost. See here. My project where my revenues and cost both will be captured here. How my COPA is going to get related and how my balance sheets. COPA and balance sheets both are very parallel one. In COPA, I'm going to see only my profitability analysis. But in my balance sheets, I can see my WIP, work in progress, my surplus, my results. Deferred revenue is nothing but a surplus revenue. So this month I might be having my surplus revenue. So this will affect in my further one. So I have already taken the revenue which I have not done the work, which I have not incurred the cost. So next month in this everything will get to know in my RA. So if there are more surplus revenue, that is also not wanted. I mean, it is also very negative to the project. It means that this month I have taken all my revenue, but still I have not incurred the cost. But definitely the cost will be get incurred. I mean, the cost has not captured it. So next month, I mean, in the next very period, the cost will get captured, but there will be no revenue.
Yeah.
These are all the financial things. I mean, even the project systems guys, they will be monitoring these points. So whenever they have a surplus revenue, it is not a positive one, it is a negative one in the near future. This is how we have to study the RA reports. I mean, where exactly we are standing, why we are getting surplus revenue excessively in further consecutive months, and why we have deferred revenues, why we are not billing to the customers, why there are a lot of WBS, I mean WIP, sorry. Why there's a work in progress, why it is not billed to the customer.
Okay. So I'm hoping that you will be spending some time to explain these things, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'll be walking you through. As
Yeah,
I told you, it is more, the PS is more into the process part.
correct.
So
Yeah,
once we know the business, we can relate everything and we can go ahead with the PS. Even SAP is nothing but if you know the T codes, we can navigate it. But we should know the proper business. Then only we can dig more and more and we can explore it.
correct.
These SPO screenshots just for reference. So that's it for the day. And this is a glimpse of the PS, what we can do in PS and what is the structural hierarchy and everything.
Yeah, this is excellent, funny. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabha. Yeah, Naveen, are you there? Hello, Naveen.
May not be there,
Hello.
I guess.